The US military does an exceptional job of preparing soldiers, sailors, and airmen for the fight. But when we consider the experience of these veterans coming home, we begin to realize that we do not have sufficient preparation for them to reintegrate in the community. When our men in combat are being trained to prepare for war, we don't just give them a gun and ammo and tell them, here is what you need for the war, good luck. They are trained repeatedly until the skills they need are so ingrained in the muscle memory so that they can perform the same tasks without thinking, even under the most stressful conditions you can ever imagine. We can use the same approach for the veterans coming home. We can use cognitive processing therapy and prolonged exposure therapy to help the veterans adjust to the community once again. We must treat these veterans repeatedly for the invisible wounds such as PTSD and the visible wounds such as loss of limbs. We must fund these veterans repeatedly so that they can be able to get affordable accommodation. We must educate these veterans repeatedly so that they get the skills they need to find jobs. We must advocate for these veterans repeatedly so that they receive the help they need every single day. Doing things repeatedly is the best way to train men in uniform, and therefore it should be the best way to reintegrate them in the community. Another approach we can take as a country to end veteran suffering is never to go to war. Fortunately, politicians from both parties are starting to realize the damage of going to war, and they are against any idea of boots on the ground. Those arguing against party lines will not agree, but it's the cold hard truth. The mental suffering created in the veterans when they are sent off to fight in foreign countries can be alleviated. But if we continue with the culture of warmongering, we must make sure that the steps that we take when training these veterans to go to war are at the very least reflected in how we prepare them to come back home, because this is what we owe them. To end this presentation, I will leave you with one quotation from the founding fathers of this country, President George Washington. The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive the veterans of earlier were treated and appreciated by their nation. Thank you, and that marks the end of this presentation.